Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching third and final part of What If Kid Naruto Befriended Kurama. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Looking down at the man who had attacked them, Naruto gazed. The man had red eyes. 3 symmetrical tomos were patterned on their red exterior. The tomo slowly started to spin as he gazed into the man's eyes. It was captivating. He found himself drawn more and more into the man's eyes as they spun faster. His entire world abruptly went dark. As Jiraiya grabbed his pupil by the nape of his neck, Naruto passed out and sagged forward. He felt for his student's chakra flow by placing his palm on his back. It seemed typical. There was no genjutsu influencing Naruto. Just dozing off. He grunted as he raised Naruto and tossed him over his shoulder once more. Jiraiya got up on the branch and asked, "What did you do to him?" "Nothing. Just put him to sleep. He will wake up naturally in a few hours. He does not need to be a part of this conversation." "Who said that we were going to have a conversation in the first place?" Itachi gazed up at Jiraiya for a long time without saying anything. Itachi said, "So you do not know? I had assumed that Hokage Sama would have confided in you. You two were always close. This conversation is pointless now," before turning to leave. He called out, "Give Hokage Sama my regards and tell him that a war is brewing," and left. "Konoha must be vigilant or it will be razed to the ground. I suggest that you get out of here while my partner remains distracted. His sensing range is quite impressive and both of you happen to have very distinctive chakra signatures." When he came to the edge of the clearing, Itachi stopped for a moment and turned around. "Sayonara, Jiraiya. Sama. I hope that we never meet again." After saying those last words, Itachi leapt into the trees and vanished from view. After standing in silence for a while, Jiraiya leapt to the ground. After setting Naruto down on the ground, he used the Kachiyose Jutsu. "Take Naruto back to Myoboku. I have some important business to attend to. Request Fukasaku Sama to train him till I get there," he stated to the summoned toad. The toad dutifully said, "Hi, Jiraiya Sama," and vanished along with Naruto. Jiraiya pursued Itachi after waiting for the smoke to subside. Kakashi launched an attack while holding his Reikiri in his right hand as Enma and Kisame continued their struggle for dominance. His Sharingan eye watched as his Reikiri was absorbed by the sword as he approached it. He whirled and, using his other hand, drew out a kunai, slicing at Kisame without losing speed. "Tenzo, seal him away now. Both of them can absorb chakra," he said. Kisame released Enma's death grip with a growl, leaned back to deflect Kakashi's blow, and then swung his sword low in retaliation. Just as 5 wooden stakes erupted from the ground around Kisame and tried to imprison him, Kakashi leapt to avoid the sword. Kisame displayed remarkable strength as he swung his enormous blade through the wood, leapt back to create space, and then vanished into the mist once more. Enma questioned Tenzo suspiciously, "The Mokuton? How is that possible? What are you, boy?" "It's one of the advantages of being a failed experiment of Orochimaru's," Tenzo shot back with a sour tone. "Self-deprecation so early in the morning? I like you already, kid," Enma laughed. Disregarding the teasing, Kakashi used the opportunity to study the fight. Every kind of chakra received color from the Sharingan. At first, it had been a big shock, and it had taken him a long time to adjust. For example, Kakashi had always seen his own chakra as blue. Before Kisame fled into the mist, Kakashi had observed the blue chakra that the sword had taken from him move from the sword to its master. Kisame's neck was the focus of his chakra, which had started to mend the wounds caused by Enma. "This is no time for joking. He is using the chakra he absorbed from me to heal himself. That means he's going to keep getting stronger the longer this fight progresses. We need to end this soon," stated Kakashi. "I got a good look at him when Enma Sama had him. That's Kisame Hoshigaki." The lone survivor of Tenzo's team, the bird, masked Anbu, gulped, "The monster of the mist? Yeah. And his great sword Samahata. We have our work cut out." Something stabbed Naruto in the stomach, causing him to stir a little. Ignoring it, he attempted to return to his sleep. When he was prodded again, he gave a frustrated grunt and struggled to his feet. He opened his eyes and blearily glanced around. His eyes grew wide as he surveyed his surroundings. He was encircled by greenery on all sides and appeared to be in some kind of valley. He twisted, trying to figure out who had woken him up. The toad was small. "Good," it said upon noticing that he was conscious. The toad yelled, "Follow me. The elders are waiting," and fled. Shouting, "Wait!" Naruto clambered to his feet. He questioned bewilderedly, "Who are you and what is this place? How did I get here?" The toad stopped and pivoted. "I am Gamakichi," he acknowledged. "Son of the chief toad Gamabunta." "EHH? You're the Gamabunta San's son? But you're so tiny?" Gamakichi growled. "I'm not tiny," she said. "I'm just young. Soon, I'll be as big as my father." Naruto said, Sorry, in a conciliatory manner. He apologized by raising his hands. "I didn't know." Gamakichi sniffed. "It's okay. This place is Mount Myoboku, the sacred land of the toads. Jiraiya Sama summoned me and asked me to bring you here. He said he would come to collect you when it was safe." When Naruto eventually recalled his run.in with the red-eyed man, shame accompanied the memory. He had been totally removed from the fight, and he had no idea how. He said, "What happened? Kurama-san. That man was a Uchiha and a powerful one at that. He cast a genjutsu on you and put you to sleep." "What? Why didn't you break the genjutsu? Didn't you hear what I said? He used a genjutsu to put you to sleep. There was no genjutsu for me to break. I tried to wake you up, but as I have mentioned before, it's extremely difficult to get into that thick skull of yours when you're out cold." "Sorry," was Naruto's sheepish response. "How did he cast a genjutsu on me in the first place? I did not see him use any hand signs." Experienced Uchiha do not require hand signs to cast genjutsu. It is something they are able to cast innately by using the Sharingan. The trigger for the genjutsu is the enemy looking into their eyes. Do not base your estimation of that clan based on Kakashi's abilities. He is no match for a true Sharingan user. And that man you met was definitely one. "Scary," Naruto uttered. Numerous individuals were far more powerful than him. "Oi!" Gamakichi screamed, interrupting his reverie. "Quit daydreaming. Didn't I say the elders were waiting?" Sorry," Naruto said. "Lead on." He observed the sights around him as he followed Gamakichi. The Myoboku Valley was breathtakingly gorgeous. A couple of lakes were visible to him, and he was able to get a glimpse of some of the toad residents. The air itself felt different. It throbbed with energy of some kind and was cleaner. A voice called out, "Ah, Kichi. There you are." When Naruto looked up, it appeared that they had arrived at their destination. Gamakichi was the same size as the talking toad, but it was much older. Gamakichi fled after bowing to the elderly toad. "Welcome to Mount Myoboku, Naruto. I am the great toad sage toad Fukasaku. Jiraiya Chan and Minato Chan were my students. Jiraiya Chan has requested that I train you till he gets here. I have acquiesced to his request and we will begin your training shortly. However, I can see from your face that you are bursting with questions. Let us quench your thirst for knowledge before we begin, shall we? Well, first off, what exactly is this place? As Gamakichi may have already told you, this is Mount Myoboku. It is the sacred land of the toads and it has been so for thousands of years. Myoboku is hidden from the rest of the world and it is impossible to get here unless you happen to know all the secret paths. In fact, it was a matter of great chance that Jiraiya Chan managed to find this place during his travels. He got lost and he somehow ended up here. How he ended up here is something even Jiraiya Chan can't answer. On his arrival, we bestowed upon him our summoning contract. Wait, so how did I get here? Gamakichi brought you here with the help of the Akuchios no Jutsu. That is the only other way to get here. Do all toads grow up to be as big as Gamabunta-san? No, they do not. Take me for an example. There are many species of toads living in Myoboku and they all have their own abilities. Why, the Great Fire. Breathing toad is even much larger than Bunta-san. So how do I summon specific toads? Well, you need to utilize an equal amount of chakra as the toad you want to summon. For example, no one has as much chakra as Bunta-chan. So if you pump in that much chakra, then you'll get him each time. For the rest of us, you'll have to get familiar with this and remember our chakra signatures. I see, said Naruto. Well, then I'll just have to get to know you all much better, Naruto grinned. That you'll have to do, laughed Fukasaku. So that means toads can use ninjutsu as well? Definitely. We toads have many secret ninjutsu which we share with no one besides our summoners. Also, just like you humans, we can also use elemental manipulation. I, for example, can use Fudan. That's awesome, Naruto said. I can use Fudan as well, but I'm not very good at it. You can teach all kinds of cool jutsu. Haha, yes, I can. However, let us begin with your taijutsu. If you want to become proficient in the toad arts, then you must integrate the frog katas into your taijutsu. Follow me. I would like to have a demonstration of your skills. As he looked for Kisame in the mist, Tenzo remarked, we need to get rid of this mist to even stand a chance against this guy. Bird yelled, leave that to me, while he made a series of hand signals. Fa, Tun. Daitopa. Bird blew the mist away with a strong gust of wind that he released from his mouth. Ah, so you had a Fuden user with you. I should have taken him out first. Kisame was standing a few meters away on a tree. I don't really enjoy fighting in a forest like this, he remarked, pointing to the trees that surrounded them. He slung his sword behind him and started making lightning, fast hand signs, saying, it's too claustrophobic. You don't mind if I create small clearing, do you? But Enma was even quicker. He was a native of the forests. Before Kisame could finish his ninjutsu, he growled and jumped on him. To escape the blow to his face, Kisame leapt back. Enma jumped after him, lightly sweeping over the branch without losing any momentum. He whirled in midair and kicked an airborne Kisame in the chest. The sheer force of the attack pushed Kisame through several trees. After being in awe of Enma's impressive taijutsu demonstration, Kakashi leapt after him with Tenzo and Bird. After landing hard on his back, Kisame was able to draw his sword, but before he could rise, Enma was on him. He doubled over and coughed up blood after taking a hard blow to the stomach. Enma lifted his fist to end the altercation, but Samahada tackled him and threw him back. Enma struggled with the shark-shaped sword and swore angrily. It grew bigger the more he struggled with it. Enma. Sama. Get out of there now. That thing's absorbing your chakra and growing, Kakashi yelled. Enma drew back, delivering a forceful blow to the sentient sword. After flying back, the object collided with a tree. From the tree he was standing on, Kakashi saw the sword's hilt reach out toward its owner. Before it could reach Kisame and give him Enma Sama's chakra, he had to stop it. He lunged down to stab Kisame after charging up another Reikiri. Before Kakashi could stab him, Kisame raised his right hand and took hold of his arm. As Kisame absorbed his chakra, his Reikiri faded. Kisame threw Kakashi away, once again using his brute force. An airborne Kakashi yelled, Tenzo, get him, while Kisame sat up and grabbed his sword. Tenzo yelled, Mokutan. Mokuja Heki, while making the necessary hand gestures. Kisame was engulfed by a dome of wood that exploded from the earth. Tenzo exclaimed, get ready. This won't hold him for long. Kisame was barely finished speaking when he exploded out of his wooden prison. It appeared that all of his wounds had healed. Kakashi swore. When he had grabbed him, Kisame had absorbed more than half of his chakra. Something else was their enemy's suction power. This fight couldn't go on much longer. They would all be dead by now if it weren't for Enma Sama. Bird exclaimed, Fa, Tun. Kazikiri no Jutsu, instead. Doden. Doria, Dan. Enma yelled out. Beside Enma, a mud dragon arose from the earth and spat a huge globule at Kisame. At the same time, the bird hurled a wind blade in the shape of a scythe at the adversary. After making a few of his own hand signals, Kisame yelled, Sweden. Suijinheki, and spat out a lot of water, creating a wall of protection around himself just like in Konoha. Sweden. Bakusu Sha Ha. At the Konoha shinobi, the water wall burst and poured outward. The approaching wave easily wiped out the forest, and they hurried back to avoid it. As the water leveled out and created a sort of lake, Kakashi squatted on a fallen tree trunk and shook his hair. Tenzo, Bird, and Enma positioned themselves around him. Snarling, this is not good, Enma said. I'm summoning Sarutobi if the situation gets any worse. Kakashi's gaze expanded. He wasn't sure if calling upon the Hokage directly was a wise move. The village was miles away from them. What would happen if Kisame's partner came back? His mind was cleared of all thoughts when a gigantic water dragon emerged from the water and attacked them. As the dragon slammed into the tree he was standing on, he leapt out of the way. He could tell by his Sharingan eye that Kisame's chakra was being conducted by the water. As long as Kisame remained submerged, Kakashi was unable to find him. He called out, get out of the water, and dove in after making a few seals. After making a few strokes, he began to scan his surroundings. It was a few seconds before he saw the enemy. In the water, the man was moving very quickly. As Kisame swam toward him with a savage smile, he began to make seals. It was over if Kisame got to him before he finished his jutsu. Sweden. Daibakufu no Jutsu. Kisame was hit by a massive wave of water that rose and fell. Kakashi wished for Kami that it had been successful. He looked for a body, trying to see through the foam. Kisame emerged from the froth and slashed at him with Samahata, shouting victory. Tenzo saw the middle of the lake tremble with a huge explosion. The whole body of water steamed and crackled. With a roar, Kisame emerged from the water and landed on solid ground. He was covered in burns and his body was streaming. He didn't appear to be carrying his sword. Behind him, Kakashi appeared out of the brush. His senpai shrugged nonchalantly and said, "I used a Raiden Cage Bunshin." "Good move," snarled Enma. "Leave the rest to me." Enma charged Kisame with a speed that none of the three of them could match. Samahata blasted out of the water as he ran, lunging at the rushing Enma. With a sudden burst of speed, Enma completely avoided the blade and lunged at a panting Kisame, his teeth exposed. He was stopped by a black blur that emerged from the brush. "It's Itachi Uchiha!" Kakashi cried out, his Sharingan eye fixed on the fight. Enma reached for the closest branch with his right arm. He kicked at Itachi while spinning in midair, using the branch as leverage. Itachi felt his kick strike his chest. The missing nin broke up into black crows and crumpled like paper. Kisame appeared beside the real Itachi. "You okay, Kisame?" As Samahata came back to him, he growled, "Yes. One of these bastards caught me off guard. I'm going to take my time killing him." His burns started to heal the moment his hand touched the hilt. "No, we need to leave now. The Jinchuriki got away and Jiraiya of the Sannin is after me. He'll be here any second." Both of them vanished in a cloud of smoke. Later, Jiraiya suddenly rushed into the clearing that Kisame's jutsu had made. He gazed about in mild surprise at the devastation. "Enma. Sama, I definitely did not expect to see you here." Jiraiya stretched and moaned in ecstasy. The location where they had fought Kisame was a few miles away. He impatiently awaited Tenzo, Bird, and Kakashi. They had agreed that he would camp while the others collected the fallen ANBU's bodies. He made a makeshift campfire and leaned forward to flip the rabbit that was roasting. He longed for a debriefing, but he had no idea why Kakashi and his team were here. He turned when he heard rustling behind him and saw them moving into the firelight. "Found them?" "Yeah, I've sealed them off," Bird answered. "Great. Now take those fucking masks off. They always get on my nerves," said Jiraiya. Tenzo and Bird glanced uneasily at Kakashi, who shrugged and nodded. They both sighed and removed their masks. Bird was a fairly attractive man in his mid-20s, but his right cheek was marred by a nasty burn scar. "Good. Name? Yusuke Hotano. Good. Now tell me, what the fuck are you guys doing here?" With a sigh of relief, Kakashi settled down next to Jiraiya. Jiraiya surmised that Kakashi's chakra had been depleted by the battle. He waved a hand toward the lake. "Those two infiltrated Konoha right after you and Naruto left. Knocked out Ibiki and destroyed a couple of blocks. In fact, I think this was the same jutsu," Kakashi said. "Not too many casualties. Hokage. Sama sent me and Tenzo's unit to track them with specific orders to stay out of combat." "Well, you can see how that turned out," he said. "Go on. They must have sensed us somehow and split up. I guess Itachi came after you?" "Yeah. I managed to get Naruto to a safe place and fought back. He wasn't too keen on hanging around once Naruto was out of the way." Tenzo questioned, "You mean to say Itachi was after Naruto? Why?" Jiraiya looked at Kakashi and cursed himself for his mistake. Kakashi gave them a single nod to show that they were reliable. With a tired sigh, he said, "Yeah, it seems that way. Look, consider this snippet of information to be of highest priority. I don't want this getting out." Yusuke questioned, "But why would a man like Itachi be after Naruto?" Jiraiya glanced at him and arched an eyebrow. "I thought Anbu were supposed to be smart. You know what Naruto is. Take a guess." Yusuke and Tenzo broke into understanding looks. "Exactly. Now you know why this information is so sensitive. If one of you spills this, then I'll personally hunt you down and kill you. Got that?" They both nodded, shivering at the threat in Jiraiya's voice. Their agreement appeared to appease Jiraiya somewhat. "And lastly, how the hell did Enma, Sama get here?" "The Hokage. Sama gave me his summoning scroll. Told me to use it if things went really south. I judged the appearance of Hoshigaki Kisame to be exactly that." Jiraiya scowled. If Naruto had given the scroll to his personal summons so readily, the old man must have been very concerned about his safety. Furthermore, Enma would not be pleased to be called by someone other than the elderly man. "Rest up. I need to get back to Konoha as soon as possible. We move at dawn. I'll take the last watch." The following day as they arrived in Konoha, Jiraiya said, "You guys can go home. I need to talk to the Hokage alone." His words, "You too Kakashi," were accompanied by the copy ninja hanging back. "This isn't about Naruto and the guys after him. It's something else. We'll talk later." For a moment, Kakashi appeared surprised, but he soon reverted to his usual expression of boredom. "I didn't want to ask in front of the others. Where's Naruto?" replied Kakashi. "Myoboku. He'll be safe there. And your trip? Still going?" "Considering that Kona has just been infiltrated, it's better that the kid stays away from here. Plus we definitely need her strength now." Kakashi gave a nod of agreement and waved lazily as he left for home. Jiraiya awaited his departure before ascending the roofs. The old man had a lot to answer for, and he was determined to get rid of them no matter what. When the elderly man entered his office, he was in some kind of meeting. With a worried expression on his face, the Hokage hurried out of his office as soon as he saw Jiraiya. As the door shut behind the final individual, he questioned, "What's wrong? Where's Naruto?" "He's in Myoboku. He's safe there. You however are not, you old fart." "What do you mean?" With obvious sarcasm in his voice, Jiraiya said, "I just ran into the man who wiped out his entire clan and he greeted me like we were old war buddies. He even asked after you by name. Mysterious, no?" The Hokage went white. Returning to his desk, he sank back into his chair. He put his pipe on his table after taking it from his mouth. He said softly, "So you ran into Itachi?" "Yes." "What did he say?" "He put Naruto to sleep with a genjutsu. Then he asked after you and said he wanted to talk. When I didn't respond, he walked off saying that he had expected you to have confided in me." "Sensei, is Itachi your double agent?" "Not exactly." Jiraiya bellowed, "Not exactly. What do you mean not exactly? He's a missing nin. The man murdered his own clan in cold blood. He doesn't deserve mercy or second chances." "Calm down, Jiraiya. Itachi didn't kill anybody in cold blood. He did it on my orders," the Hokage said, his voice brimming with agony. "What?" a startled Jiraiya inquired. "Your orders?" "Sit down, Jiraiya. This will take a while." Jiraiya pulled up a chair and took a seat while the Hokage waited. "You remember the wave of distrust against the Uchiha after the Kyuubi attack, don't you? Well, that's where all this begins. Danzo and the council believed that the Uchiha clan had a hand in the attack. Despite my protests, they're the ones who insisted upon the segregation of the Uchiha from the rest of the village. That act was the root cause of all of this. If you remember, Danzo was still the head of the Anbu back then. I was still foolishly trusting him. Over and above the segregation, Danzo made sure that the Uchiha were sidelined. They were overruled for promotions. They were sent on suicide missions. They were kept out of administrative decisions. The Uchiha were not stupid. Fukasaku realized what was going on. He planned a coup." Sarutobi hesitated, as if he was having trouble speaking. He went on with his story, but with effort. "He rallied the Uchiha and plotted to have me and the council assassinated. Itachi was just a boy. He was only 13 and already an Anbu captain. We were still weak after the attack of the Kyuubi. If we fell into civil war, chaos would ensue. The other countries would not leave us alone. They would definitely attack us and the Fourth Shinobi World War would ensue. Itachi realized this. He realized that the village would be destroyed if the coup occurred. He knew that wide-scale war would break out and millions of lives would be lost. He came to me. He told me about the coup. He became a double agent and fed us information. They said, and you ordered a genocide, Jiraiya said. No number I did not. I started talks with the Uchiha. Tried to placate their anger. They realized that there was a traitor in the midst. I believe the fact that we had managed to turn one of their own against them really angered the clan. I tried everything I could but Itachi informed that the coup was still going to be held. So I did the only thing I could. I weighed the loss of millions of lives against that of a clan and I chose. Sarutobi's voice trailed off and faltered. He raised his gaze to meet Jiraiya's. I chose the lesser evil. For many long minutes, the room was silent. Why order the boy? Why not do it yourselves? If the other villages saw us turning on one of our own clans, they would have considered it to be a sign of weakness. So you ordered him? Yes. He agreed to it. Itachi had always been sensitive. He wasn't like the rest of his clan. He was peace loving. He knew that he had to prevent the coup for the greater good. We entrusted him with the mission and he agreed to do it. His only condition was his brother. Sasuke. Yes. Sasuke. Sasuke was only a child and blameless. He made me swear to protect him and to never tell him his brother's secret. That was his condition. I agreed. Once again, the room was silent. Jiraiya slowly stood up. He whispered, "Why didn't you tell me? What was there to say? I did not have the courage to tell you. I'm not going to defend or approve of your actions. I have no expectations. You are free to judge me as you wish. I did what I could to protect the village. As he walked out of the room, Jiraiya nodded. You've given me a lot to think. Jiraiya groaned as he awoke and swung his fist at his alarm clock. He was thrown off balance by his wild swing and missed the clock entirely due to his sleep-induced state. With a powerful oath, he rolled out of bed and fell face first to his floor. As he picked himself up off the ground, a series of curses escaped his lips. The last traces of sleep had been pushed from his mind by a hard knock to his head and freefall. He sat back on his bed, grateful beyond measure that he had not had any alcohol the night before. After giving it some thought, he had decided against going on a pub crawl. A hangover would not have helped him today, when he needed to be at his best. He turned to take a look when he heard a knock on his window. Kakashi was sitting on the window sill. He extended his hand to remove the seal that was covering his window. Kakashi came in looking appreciative. Good timing. I just woke up. Yeah, I can see that. Naruto's okay? As far as I know, he's in Myoboku and I would have received word if anything had gone wrong. So what are you going to do now? As in, they know that Naruto was with you but that in itself didn't scare them off. You going to bring him back to the village? For the time being, he stays in Myoboku. He's absolutely safe there. Nobody can get in or out without the Toad's permission. You sure? They cake-walked into Konoha. That's different. Konoha's barriers aren't meant to keep people out but to alert us to intruders. Myoboku's barriers don't let anyone in besides the Toads themselves and the folks who have their contract. Besides, no one except me even knows the general location of the place. Konoha's location is one of the most poorly guarded secrets in the shinobi world. I hope you're right. So Tsunade then? I guess so. We'll stay put for now though. Let the kid train with the Toads a bit. What about the Kyuubi? Jiraiya said nothing. He had completely forgotten about the Kyuubi due to the events of yesterday and Sarutobi's confession. Jiraiya had no such pressure, but Sarutobi had consented to trust the boy with the Kyuubi. Despite his intelligence, the boy wasn't always correct. He had to discuss the Kyuubi with the boy shortly. That was the original reason for his summons. Jiraiya was more than happy to completely break the seal and stop Naruto and the Kyuubi from communicating if necessary. Above all, he had to investigate the rate of deterioration of the seal. It was difficult to contain a chakra beast like the Kyuubi. Has Naruto ever spoken to you about the Kyuubi? No, you sure? I'm sure. Why? Damn. I need to talk to him about it. I know but I have no idea how to bring it up. I definitely don't trust the boy's instincts with respect to the Kyuubi but I don't want him to lose trust in me if I'm forced to do something drastic. Jiraiya used both hands to palm his eyes. Well, what I've learned about him is that he hates when things happen beyond his control. I guess as long as you talk to him before doing whatever you're planning to do, he'll be understanding. Let's hope so, Jiraiya stated gravely. That and the way he used the Kyuubi's chakra, I think the seal is weakening. Kakashi remained quiet and gazed at Jiraiya's bedroom wall thoughtfully. Can't you fix it? You are a seal master, after all. Jiraiya said, there are limits to what I can do, and got to his feet. He knelt down, picked up his shirt that had fallen, and began putting it on. If the seal's weakening, then it's weakening. Everything I do will just be a stop-gap measure. A delaying tactic. Something to give Naruto more time. More time for what? Jiraiya pivoted, staring directly at Kakashi. For him to learn how to control the Kyuubi. His words were followed by a stunned silence. After some time, Kakashi reluctantly broke the silence and asked, is that even possible? You know the stories. Jinchuriki never die of old age, you know. If they can't control their Biju, then sooner or later the Biju begins to control them. The Biju can control air host. That's not what I meant. All Biju have enormous amounts of chakra. No matter how good the seal is, there is always a tremendous amount of strain upon it. Holding in such enormous amounts of chakra is not an easy task. They weaken and eventually the Biju breaks out, Jiraiya with a sarcastic tone. Look at Kumo, for instance. They have been veritably running through their Jinchuriki. Their Biju has broken free at least 3 times in the past 30.40 years. So you're saying that Naruto is a ticking time bomb? Well, you could say that. I never knew that he was that much of a threat to the village. If you look at it this way, the villagers can't really be blamed for the way they treat him. I always assumed that Sensei's seal was foolproof. No seal is foolproof. What happened to Kushina is proof of that. And her seal was incredible. Even I'm no match for the Fuinjutsu of the Uzumaki clan. And look at where that got us. Well then we should be glad that Naruto can't get knocked up. But Jiraiya didn't chuckle. He was thinking about more than just Naruto. He was also feeling the weight of the old man's disturbing revelations about Itachi. Let's see. I'll examine his seal closely when I get to Myoboku. I'll make my decision after that. I could be completely wrong with my prognosis as well. Why don't you take Tenzo with you? His skills might come in handy. Jiraiya's eyebrow went up. Tenzo, how effective is his Mokuton? Honestly, he absolutely pales in comparison to what the Shodai is said to have been able to do. But isn't something better than nothing? His powers should have some effect on the Kyuubi, shouldn't they? You're right, I guess. I'll tell the old man to keep him on standby. He stomped out of his apartment after putting on his boots. See you later. There's a council about the Iwa incident and old man wants me there. When Jiraiya entered the room, Sarutobi exhaled in relief. He was worried that his pupil might have gone out drinking the night before. Jiraiya usually passed out in an alleyway at the end of the night after drinking. His pupil approached and leaned against the wall fragment behind him. Can we start now that Jiraiya is here? Homura said sardonically. Sarutobi straightened his chair and said, I think we can. Kohaku, Homura, and Danzo were seated next to him. In front of them, 2 parallel tables held the remaining members of the council. All of the village clan heads made up the council. The head of the medical corps, the head of the torture and investigation cell, the Junin commander, and the Anbu commander were also housed there. A member of the daimyo's court had a seat, and the civilian leaders had 3 seats. There was tension in the room, and every seat was occupied. Beginning the proceedings, Sarutobi said, I believe all you received the report filed by Hitaki Kakashi? His question was answered with a rush of nods. Good, I assume that you have all gone through it thoroughly. Inazuka Sume interrupted Sarutobi. Barely. Hitaki's handwriting is slightly worse than chicken. Scrawl. The entire room erupted in nervous laughter. Before continuing, Sarutobi waited for the laughter to stop. If you have any doubts regarding the mission, then please air them now. As I'm sure you know, Jiraiya was also a part of this mission and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer any of your questions. As soon as he was done, Kei Sato spoke. Out of the 3 civilian leaders, he was the most senior. He had long annoyed Sarutobi with his extreme conceit and love of power. It says here in this report that the Kyuubi broke free, Ida. It says nothing of the sort. Sarutobi intervened courteously. If you read that section again, you'll notice that Kakashi reports that Naruto accessed the Kyuubi's chakra. 2 completely different things. How so? The seal exists to prevent the demon from accessing its chakra. It clearly states here that the demon was able to utilize his chakra and that it even formed a red aura around him. Logically, that means that the Yondaimi's seal has been broken. We show. Sarutobi cut him off again in a controlled voice. As I have told the civilian council before, Naruto is not the Kyuubi. He is an ordinary human being like the rest of us. The Yondaimi sealed the Kyuubi within Naruto. Naruto is the cage which hold the beast in check. The fact that he can utilize the Kyuubi's chakra does not mean that the seal has failed. I would like to question the veracity of that statement. Although Sato-san was wrong in his beliefs about Naruto, I support the logic in his statement. As you said before, Naruto is the container that hold the beast in check. Shouldn't the Yondaimi Sama's seal prevent Naruto from utilizing the Kyuubi's chakra? Shibi Aburame asked before Sato could respond. I, however, concede that I am not an expert on the field of Jinchuriki. It would be better to clear up any misconceptions now, as I'm sure all will agree. Making decisions with flawed facts is not something I enjoy. Sarutobi raised an eyebrow in Jiraiya's direction. He was given a very subtle nod in response. Jiraiya moved forward a few paces after pushing off the wall. I inspected Naruto's seal soon after the Kyuubi had been sealed within him. I do not know why, but Minato has designed the seal in such a way that it allows a certain amount of chakra to flow through. The seal continuously steals a small portion of the Kyuubi's chakra and channels it into Naruto's coils. The statement that Naruto can use the Kyuubi's chakra and hence the seal has failed is wrong, because the seal was specifically designed to allow a certain amount of chakra to flow through. Kohaku questioned, and you have no idea why the Yondaimi did so? I have a hunch. Which is, I believe that Minato eventually wanted Naruto to be able to control the Kyuubi. Normally, the chakra of a Biju is too powerful for ordinary humans to utilize. However, since the Kyuubi's chakra has been flowing through his coils since the time Naruto was a baby, his body has completely adapted and acclimatized to it. With practice, he should be able to control the chakra. With practice? We cannot let him have access to such chakra in the first place. What if he loses control? Sato grumbled. A valid point, Shikamaru Nara concluded. The majority of the clan leaders also nodded in agreement. Danzo said, such actions are necessary, before Jiraiya could respond. Jinchuriki or weapons are mass destruction. To maintain the balance of power, it is essential that Konoha have a strong Jinchuriki as well. To that extent, a certain amount of collateral damage is tolerable. Jiraiya gave Danzo a fierce look but did not challenge him. By practice, I did not mean that he should draw upon the Kyuubi's chakra in the middle of the village. Practice under controlled conditions, with all possible precautions taken. His statement was met with silence. Homura questioned, so you are sure that the seal is secure? Yes. Good. Then I believe that this is the end of this topic. We have other matters to consider as well, Sue. Sarutobi muttered a curse as he was cut off once more. The commander of the Anbu inquired, where is the boy now? Out of the village, Jiraiya answered. Where exactly? Danzo asked. In one of my safe houses. It is completely secure, Jiraiya stated, making it clear from the tone of his voice that he would not be providing any additional details about Naruto's whereabouts. Sarutobi asked, the matter of the Iwajunin Jiraiya captured, Ibiki? The T and I cell head had recently been discharged from the hospital. Leaning forward, Ibiki started speaking. As per the Hokage Sama's orders, we did not resort to torture. We chose to break into his mind instead. We were able to retrieve quite a bit of useful intel on Iwa. Regarding this mission, this is what we were able to glean. The shinobi was part of a squad which had been specifically trained to restrain a Jinchuriki. The squad was formed to keep Iwa's own Jinchuriki under control in case of the worst happening. The squad was assigned the mission of capturing and retrieving Naruto Uzumaki a couple of weeks ago. Since he was not the team leader, he does not have any further information regarding this particular mission. I will submit a detailed report tomorrow. Please request a copy from the T&I office if you want to go through it. Iwa is becoming more and more bold every day. We must respond appropriately, Inoichi Yamanaka stated. Shuza Akamichi reportedly asked, what do you suggest? I don't know. But it has to be a solid statement. We can't back down now. It'll only make them think we're weak and incite further violence. I quite like the peace we are in, right now. An assassination? Asked the commander of the Anbu. No, Sarutobi replied. No subterfuge. What then? Danzo said quietly. We let this go, as always? We have to respond, RN. Yes, we have to respond, Sarutobi said, interrupting. He pushed his chair back and got to his feet. He put his hands on the table, leaned forward, and spoke again, although in a tone that was very different from his usual one. I quite like this peace as well, but I believe we are hurtling towards its end. The shinobi world as it is now cannot sustain this fragile peace much longer. And when this peace ends, I will not let Konoha suffer like last time. The time for softness is over. He was the center of attention for everyone in the room. Jiraiya, too. He stifled a smile. They hadn't anticipated this from him. Jiraiya in particular. I am going to send Iwa a message. A threat, rather. Their entire squad was wiped out. I do not think they have any idea what happened. I will inform them that any further military action against Konoha will result in all-out war. What if they don't take the bait? They will. They think that we have a Jinchuriki strong enough to wipe out a Junin squadron which specialized in sealing Jinchuriki. They have a Jinchuriki as well. Yes, but our Jinchuriki has the Kyuubi. They don't. Everybody in the room grinned. Even Danzo. And what of the attack on the village? Hitachi's report mentions Kisame Hoshigaki and Itachi Uchiha. Hyuga Heishi responded. When the robe Uchiha was brought up, the tension in the room increased. Sarutobi called out, Ibiki? The perpetrators were definitely the missing nin Kisame Hoshigaki of Kiri and Itachi Uchiha. Hitachi claims so in his report, and I can confirm that it definitely was Itachi. I saw Itachi's Sharingan. Besides, no one else in the world can cast such a powerful genjutsu without using hand signs. We will have to take Hitachi's word regarding Kisame Hoshigaki. A knife could have sliced through the room's silence. So that explains how they got through our barrier. With that bastard's Sharingan, they can waltz through our barriers whenever they please, said the commander of the Anbu. Yes. I believe so, Ibiki said with a nod. Inoichi questioned, why were they in the village? We have no idea, Sarutobi said. Until Jiraiya could learn more, he was going to keep the information about the Biju hunters to himself. I see. And Hitachi's mission to shadow them can be considered to be a complete failure, Homura replied. In fact, if not for the Hokage Sama's summon, it's quite likely that we would have lost the whole squad. So what can we do? I'm sending out Kakashi again on another reconnaissance mission. The battle occurred yesterday. We should be able to track them quite easily. I believe he'll be more careful this time, given that he has already faced them in battle once. Besides, given that Itachi is involved, he is our best bet. Only a Sharingan can defeat a Sharingan. Danzo remarked, Kakashi is good but not that good, Itachi will overpower him in seconds. It's a reconnaissance mission, not a combat mission. Yesterday's mission was a reconnaissance mission as well, said Danzo. Once again, do you have any suggestions? Danzo said nothing. That's what I thought. I think we are done here then. Shikaku, Inoichi and Shuza. Please come to my office in half an hour. Everyone got up to go. Jiraiya approached his teacher after waiting for the room to clear. Before he could speak, Homura, Kohaku, and Danzo interrupted him. Hiruzen, we need to talk, Kohaku called out. Yes, I agree. Now, she said, making a subtle gesture in Jiraiya's direction. He stays, firmly stated Sarutobi. You told him? Danzo inquired quietly. Under the circumstances, I decided that it was wise to do so. I see, Danzo said. We need to change our barriers and we need to do something about Itachi. Kohaku questioned, why do you think he came back in the first place? Sarutobi remarked, I hope it was just to see how his brother was doing. Then why did he bring along a missing nin of the caliber of Hoshigaki Kisame? No, this is about something else, Danzo replied. There is no point in making speculations. There is nothing much we can do, unless we receive any further intel. Danzo grunted. Is there anything else? They walked out of the room after shaking their heads. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow as she watched them leave. How do you stand them? What with the gigantic poles stuck up their asses? Sarutobi disregarded the taunt directed at his former teammates. Bold move, the Iwa thing. You sure about this? I have no choice. I cannot let the village suffer like it did last time. I was too indecisive back then and I always learn from my mistakes. You want me to go to Iwa? No, you focus on Naruto. I have someone else in mind. Jiraiya gave a nod and stopped asking. About Naruto. How much of the truth did you tell them? Jiraiya gave a shrug. There's no point in telling them anything more. The civilians are never going to understand and most of the clans do not want to go near the Naruto issue with a barge pole. Besides, with Danzo in the council as well, it's best not to divulge too much. You think the seal's weakening? Can't say without inspecting the seal. Sarutobi replied with a grunt. I'm pushing off, then. I'll send you a toad to keep you updated about Naruto. Wait. What did you think about Itachi? That this mission is suicidal. He may be on our side but his partner is definitely not. I don't think our team will survive this time. And I don't think it's going to be as easy to track them as you made out. These guys are not ones to underestimate. Then what? Let them be for now. I'll try to dig up some more intel about this group. Why didn't you say this during the session? Didn't want to oppose you in front of them. I see. Get going then. I'll see you soon. Yeah, good luck. Jiraiya left him, and Sarutobi beckoned to one of his Anbu guards. Summon Asuma to my room in half an hour. A voice called out to Asuma just as he was ready to knock on his father's door. Asuma. He turned to Inoichi and grinned. It didn't really surprise Inoichi that Shikaku and Shuza were with him. Despite their age, those three spent the majority of their time together. He called out, puffing smoke out of his mouth. Hey, he said. Nodding at his father's door, he said, what's up? You guys as well? Yeah, Inoichi nodded. How's Kurenai? He inquired, raising his eyebrows enthusiastically. Inoichi. Shuza yelled sourly. Asuma drew on his cigarette and remained silent. He was accustomed to this line of inquiry. The fact that his father had called both him and the Ino Shika Sho trio bothered him. This isn't possible. Then you'd better get it over with. He walked in, putting out his cigarette as he opened the door. His father grinned at them after looking up from a report. Good. You're all here, he said. What's up? You wanted all of us? Sarutobi nodded at the Ino Shika Sho trio and said, yes. I have a mission for you four. You have the option of refusing. Especially, you three. You three aren't on active duty, so you have the right to turn me down. What's the mission? Shikaku inquired. The message to Iwa. I want you four to carry it. They all raised their eyebrows. Okay, Don't think I'm refusing because I'm not, but I would like to ask why, replied Shuza. Hold on, Asuma interrupted. What is this message? His dad looked directly into Asuma's eyes. Asuma nodded and said, You must have heard about Naruto's kidnapping. Well, this is a threat to Iwa regarding any further military action they may take against us. A threat? Is that a good idea? They'll fill you in, Sarutobi said, pointing to the three of them. It was a decision taken by the council. Asuma lit a cigarette and remarked, I see, more nicotine was definitely needed after hearing the news. The heads of the three biggest clans of Konoha and the son of the Hokage. You want to make a statement? His dad gave a nod. So do you accept? The four whispered their agreement. Good, Sarutobi said with a nod. You'll leave tomorrow morning. I'll get the scrolls sent to the gate. The quartet of Junin whispered, Hokage, Sama, and left the room. Jiraiya appeared with a puff of smoke, and there was a scream. Jiraiya was hit over the head with a frying pan because she reacted too slowly. Oh, it's you, Jiraiya-chan. Jiraiya rubbed his face in agony and moaned. Jiraiya bemoaned mockingly, Shima. Sama, I am the only one who can visit you. Why do you do this every time? Why can't you come through the door like a normal person? Gave me a scare, you did, said Shima. When he stood up, he asked, Where's Fukasaku, Sama? Training Naruto. Where? Behind Hero's place. He said, I see, and pulled up a chair. He inquired, How long will they be? While Shima resumed her cooking. Soon. They should be hungry soon. How's Naruto? He's okay. Jiraiya smiled and asked, He liking the food? Jiraiya managed to avoid the knife that was thrown at him this time. You're going to stay? I think so. That's good. It's good to have company once in a while. You generally never visit. That aside, when Fukasaku Sama gets back, we need to talk. About? Naruto. And the Kyuubi. I see, Shima replied. Let's hope he gets back soon, then. After 2 weeks, Naruto was in danger of falling. Directly beneath himself, he focused his chakra and produced a cage bunshin. He fell into his clone, his knees bending and taking the blow. He pushed off, forcing chakra to his feet, and hurled himself at Fukasaku. He was unable to match the old toad's jumping ability no matter what he did. Fukasaku had both hands behind his back as he fell gracefully. Fukasaku raised one hand to block Naruto's blow and divert the attack's force toward him. With a loud crash, Naruto landed on his back. He wiped the dust from his eyes and saw his teacher land a few paces away with a gentle landing. He had been trained to incorporate the frog katas into his taijutsu by the elderly toad. In essence, he had spent the last 2 weeks getting the shit kicked out of him. Fukasaku seemed to think that beating something into his body was the best way to teach it to him. Guy first. Next, Anko. Jiraiya followed, and now Fukasaku. Why did all of his mentors act so cruelly? Padding over, his teacher peered down at him. That was good, a smiling Fukasaku said. You're catching on. I think you have understood the basic concepts behind our frog katas. Some more practice and you'll have it. Utilizing the opponent's strength against them was the fundamental idea behind the frog katas. It was something Naruto had discovered the hard way. When he had first seen Fukasaku, he had been hardly able to move. That, along with a lot of jumping. He's definitely picking it up more quickly than I did, a voice called. Naruto noticed that his other teacher had joined them after he sat up. Fukasaku replied, Yes. I remember that you took quite a while longer. That's because you were much harder on me. You beat me up so fast and so often, that I didn't even have time to learn, Jiraiya replied. Huffing. I did nothing of the sort, Fukasaku said. You just happened to be more interested in women than training back then. I still am, Jiraiya declared, grinning proudly. And that's still not a good thing, you idiot. Naruto got up and smiled. Jiraiya had arrived, and the two had been arguing non-stop. Nearly as much as the arguments Fukasaku had with his wife. Seeing them was entertaining. For it, he got a hard slap on the back of his head. What are you laughing about, boy? You can still train if you have the energy to flash your teeth like that. Relax, Gramps. It's not like there's someone trying to kill me. On the contrary, Jiraiya looked at Fukasaku and seemed a little guilty, so he stopped talking. Naruto observed their exchanges with interest. What are you guys not telling me? Nothing. Nothing. Why don't you head home for now? I'm sure dinner's ready, Jiraiya replied. At the mention of dinner, Naruto's suspicious expression turned into a grimace. He slouched off toward Fukasaku's house, his shoulders drooping. Shima prepared meals for him, but he didn't like them. In actuality, they were not intended for human consumption. Jiraiya observed Naruto leaving. Up there, the old fart had nearly slipped and revealed the truth. He had yet to inform Naruto of the danger to his life. He saw Fukasaku frowning at him when he looked down. He inquired, "When are you going to tell him? There's a group of S-rankers out to kill him?" "Yes. That and the talk about the Kyuubi. I don't see the point in hiding it from him. You should have told him as soon as he got here." "I know," Jiraiya sighed. "I just wanted him to get used to this place first." That wasn't entirely accurate. Jiraiya was confident that Naruto would handle it well if he found out that an S-ranked criminal organization was trying to apprehend him. The other conversation that awaited him was something he feared. To be honest, he had no interest in learning how the child had become friendly with the Kyuubi. "That's a shit excuse, if I've ever heard one." Yeah, I know," Jiraiya, on the defensive, replied. "I'm getting to it. The earlier you do it the better. I don't like the fact that he could be talking to the Kyuubi right now, for all we know. I guess. Why don't you just close off the seal completely then? Break all contact off." "That's what I was considering at first. But now that he's got a bunch of S-rankers after him, he might need the fox's chakra just to survive. That's how he managed to get out of Iwa's hands." "So you're sure that he can control the Kyuubi's chakra to a reasonable extent?" "Yes. Whatever the seal lets him have. And how much is that?" "I don't know." "Well then, find out." "How?" "Ask him. And if he doesn't know, then make him pull out as much as he can. See if it's controllable or not. If it isn't, then tighten the seal up." "Are you sure that's a good idea? What if he can't control it?" "We'll find out soon, one way or another. Better if we do it now. Besides, better here than Konoha. We have you, me, Shima and Bunta here. Between the four of us, we should be able to handle it." "We'll have to be careful." "That's true. Boy, this is going to be an awkward conversation. Come on. Let's get home. The sooner we do this the better." While they were walking, Fukasaku inquired, "How long are you going to stay here?" "Well, he's got the frog catus down. Teach him how to improve his Fuden. We'll leave after that." "Sage mode? He's too young." "True, but he might need it. According to you, one of the people after him is Uchiha Itachi. The man who wiped out his own clan. The boy needs every edge he can get." "That's true. But it's still too early for him. Maybe in a couple of years." Tenzo searched the pockets of the shattered body that was in front of him. The corpse had on a mask with the Iwa symbol on it. The body was still covered in fresh blood. All traces of the recent battle were being erased as the remaining members of Tenzu's team milled around the clearing. They had already disposed of the bodies of the other fallen enemies. They were outside the boundaries of Konoha's great forest. A day earlier, an Iwa shinobi had defected to Konoha. The mission to destroy the Hunter.Nin squad pursuing the Defector had been given to Tenzu's Anbu team. The battle had been difficult. Hunter.Nin tended to consist of only elite Junin, similar to the Anbu. Fortunately, they had an element of surprise and were able to capitalize on it. Tenzo got up and opened the man's pouch, pulling it off. He discovered a brand-new book inside. He could tell by the cover that it was Iwa's most recent bingo book. He opened it curiously and turned the pages. Which of your allies had bounties on their heads was always a plus. He flipped through the pages and saw an image. He retraced his steps and located the problematic page. He gazed at the picture, his eyes widening. He read the description of the listed shinobi while muttering curses. He let out a loud curse. The bingo book did not contain Tenzu's name, however, that was mostly because he had spent most of his career as the Anbu. Fuck. He swore once more. His team stared at him, shocked by his unexpected outburst. He was not the type to use colorful language most of the time. With her voice muffled by her mask, one of them said, "What's wrong, Taicho?" Turning around, Tenzo sighed and said, "Nothing." The bingo book was raised by him. Someone's going to be really happy when he gets to know about this. "Friend of yours?" Tenzo put the book in his pocket and lit the corpse of the fallen enemy on fire. "Yeah, you could say that," he said. One day earlier Anko sulked and pleaded, "Come on, Ibiki. Let me handle this one." As he strode down the hallway of the Konoha torture and interrogation cell, her superior gave her a quick glance. "No," Anko followed him and said, "No, why not?" "Because the Hokage specifically told me to handle this personally. You can watch from the observation room. What the Hokage doesn't know won't kill him. No, besides, he could potentially become an ally. I'll be nice." "No, come on. Please. No, you have a conflict of interest. We're shinobi. We all have conflicts of interests. Not under my watch. I'll let you grope me. Ibiki didn't even respond to that in a dignified manner. As they passed the Anbu checkpoint, Anko let out a sigh. Now they were inside the prison. Access was restricted to a select few. I can watch, right? As long as you remember to not spill anything to the boy. As if. He's not even in the village, Ibiki said, just reminding you, as he turned and entered a room for questioning. After giving him a nod, Anko positioned herself in front of the observation window. She only knew that Muda was the name of the defector. Ibiki wore a grimace as he entered the interrogation room. At 3 in the morning, an Anbu had woken him up. At the gates, an Iwa shinobi had appeared and asked to meet with the Hokage. He had been moved to the T&I cell instead by the Anbu guards at the gate. The process was the same for all defectors. His name was Muda, according to the preliminary report, and the Anbu had not discovered any delayed jutsu on him. He was part of the group that kidnapped Naruto Uzumaki. He didn't intend to allow Anko to get close to his prisoner because of this. Name and shinobi reference number. Muda Kobayashi. 4,970,391. Let's make this simple, shall we? You tell us what your demands are and what you have to offer us, and we'll tell you whether you die or not. His inmate grinned. Ah, the famous Ibiki Morino. I definitely have no intention of playing games with someone like you. Before we begin, what of the hunter.nin after me? Neutralized. The smile of his prisoner widened. I hope that's the truth. I really don't enjoy psychological games. Ibiki gave a shrug. Make what you want of it. Come on. You're the one who wanted to keep this simple. Ibiki's response did not elevate that. Fair enough. I'm an Iwa Junin. As you can imagine, I know a lot of things which you'll find interesting. And what do you want in return? Nothing much. Just a life here. I would like to be inducted as a Konoha shinobi. As he processed the request, Ibiki's expression remained unchanged. The request wasn't even that big. Such requests typically came in daily during times of war, particularly when he was providing them with high-level intelligence. And why should we just not extract it from your mind? Because I took the precaution of installing a safeguard. You meddle with my memories and I go boom. You can have one of your Yamanaka to confirm it. It's crude but it'll work. And chakra has already been pumped into it. It's ready and primed. Your chakra restriction seals can't stop it. Ibiki got up and walked away. With a whiff of panic in his voice, Muda said, Wait, that's it? Don't you want to know more about the kind of intel I have? Not particularly, Ibiki called as he left. Anko grinned crazily. You sure saw through past that cocky facade of his. I think this is his first serious interrogation, despite him being a Junin. Seems that way. Even I managed to read his body language. I'm going to the Hokage. Behave while I'm gone. Come on. Let me just scare him a bit. Ibiki paused to think about what she had said. A faint smile flickered across his lips. Go ahead. Anko cracked her knuckles and grinned. When Sarutobi first heard the news, he had snarled in exasperation. He didn't seem to genuinely wish to declare war on Iwa. Avoiding it as long as possible had been the goal. He was now waiting for a T&I cell report while seated in his office. When Danzo entered with his regular companions Himura and Kohaku, he didn't even pretend to smile. What? He yelled. Starting with, we were informed of the Iwa defector, Kokahu said. We thought it would be best if we. I'm not sending him back to Iwa. I've already dispatched a squad to eliminate all pursuers. There was a thick silence in the room. Apparently, that was not what they had anticipated. He was just an old, senile, peace-loving fool in their minds. Danzo remarked, That's good to hear, we were wounded. Under the impression that I was going to send him back. I'm not warmongers like you three, but that doesn't mean I'm a coward. I plan to send you a threat and I have no intention of backing down. We have already crossed the point of no return. The ball is in Onoki's court now. If he wants a war, then we're going to have a war. I see, Danzo said following a prolonged pause. It is good to see that the Hiruzen of my youth is still in there somewhere. Bah. Get out, the three of you. I'm in no mood for your posturing. Despite his rudeness, their faces showed no emotion, which annoyed him. He called, Oh, and by the way, as they left his room. You three are going to be on the front lines this time. It's time you led the village from the front. Especially you Danzo. That got the reaction he wanted from Kohaku and Homura, and he grinned. Even in his final moments, he didn't anticipate Danzo emoting. A few minutes later, Ibiki entered his office. Well? Sarutobi inquired. He's scared. Or he's the best actor I've ever seen. So not a plant then? I don't think so. You don't think so? That's not enough. Confirm it. Use any means necessary. I do not want to go to war relying on planted intel. Hi, Hokage. Sama. You'll have my report in a few hours. As Ibiki walked out of his office, Sarutobi sighed. He took out a piece of paper and started writing Jiraiya a message. He called in his assistant as he was writing. Get word to Asuma and Shikaku. Tell them that their mission stands cancelled. The ball is in Iwa's court now. Hi, he said, nodding to his assistant leaving. The Hokage called out, Panther, as soon as the door was shut. Silently, one of his numerous Anbu guards appeared. Get word to your commander, although I presume he has already received a report of this. Tell him Tenzo and Kakashi's mission stands cancelled as well. Tenzu's team is to head out and intercept any Iwa squads tracking this man. I want no mistakes with this. We're walking on the knife's edge here. Ask him to double the patrols on the border. Both Anbu and regular. As was customary, Sakura and Sasuke waited for the other members of their team at their usual meeting spot, which also happened to be one of the numerous bridges that crossed the small stream that divided the village from the numerous training grounds. Their general tolerance for their teammates' tardiness had significantly increased over time. With his eyes closed and absorbed in his thoughts, Sasuke leaned against the bridge. Style. He disregarded Sakura's existence with practiced ease, even though she had stopped bothering him recently. He was eternally grateful to whoever had pushed that idea into the girl's mind, even though he had no idea who or what did it. He was grateful for the tranquility the girl was providing and had far more important things to think about. Now, Sasuke could clearly see how far apart he and his blonde teammate were. Any remaining doubts had been dispelled by the trip to the wave. Naruto possessed more chakra, was faster, stronger, and possessed a greater variety of jutsus. If Sasuke hoped to beat the blonde fool into his proper position in the near future, he had his work cut out for him. A languid voice called out, Yo, as Kakashi approached them slowly. Good, he added further. You two are on time. Sakura and Sasuke didn't bother to reply to their teacher's taunt, which was evidence of their increased patience. Naruto won't be joining us today. It's just us three today. Let's get going. Sakura asked the question Sasuke also wanted asked, Why? Why? Kakashi replied. He's not in the village right now. Where's he gone? I don't really know for that matter. Yes, but why isn't he in the village? Has he been given a mission? I wouldn't say that. The Hokage saw fit to give him leave to go on a short trip with a family member. Sasuke tucked the information away in silence. He should take advantage of this opportunity to bridge some of the distance between himself and Naruto. He followed Kakashi to the training grounds after making a small leap off the stile. Sakura, today we work some more on your taijutsu and a bit more on your genjutsu, Sasuke. Sasuke's mouth quirked up. He enjoyed the idea of using genjutsu. It appeared to be one area in which his teammate was deficient. Tonight, he also intended to go to his clan library. It was his, and his alone, being the village's last Uchiha. Any Kaden he could find in the library, he was going to get. His mouth quirked once more. Sensei. Ino whimpered. You need to relax a bit. I can't spar anymore. Me too, Choji moaned. In the middle of their regular training grounds, both of them were kneeling and breathing heavily. Their team leader, Asuma, stood in front of them, utterly unmoved by their cries. He growled, We aren't anywhere near to being done, as he swerved carelessly to avoid a shadow's tendril that had risen from the surrounding trees and ambushed him from behind. He quickly drew a kunai and threw it into the underbrush to his left. Shikamaru made a scurrying sound as he rolled away from the blade that was aimed at him. As he slowly got up off the ground, a panting Shikamaru asked, Something wrong? You seem really angry? Me? Angry? Nothing of the sort. I just realized that I was going too easy on you three idiots. Can't have you three dying on me now, can I? Shikamaru said, Die? Who's going to kill us three? Who knows? Asuma shrugged. Could be anyone. The world's a happening place, Asuma declared as he assaulted his pupils once more. After 2 days, there's a group of S-rankers after you, kid. Jiraiya had decided to be direct. In any case, the child seemed to prefer that. Naruto's eyes slightly widened. What do you mean? Exactly what I said. Silently, Naruto gazed at his mentor. Then he gave a casual shrug. I just have to get stronger then. Jiraiya gazed in disbelief at his pupil. This was a little too much for Naruto, who he had expected to handle the news well. You okay, kid? Why won't I be? Well, I just told you that there are a bunch of S-rank missing. Nin out to kill you and you don't really seem upset. People have been trying to kill me for a long time. Jiraiya controlled his escalating rage at the way the village he loved treated his godson. When he did die, Minato was going to kill him anyhow. Don't you want to know why? It must be either because of me being a Jinchuriki or because of who my parents are. Jiraiya mentally noted that he should never undervalue his godson's intelligence again. You're right. It's because of what you are. I believe that this group is after what's inside you. What they want it for, I do not know. However, it is imperative that they not get their hands on you. 1. It'll upset the balance of power of the villages. Secondly, and more importantly, the forcible extraction of a Biju will almost certainly kill the host. Naruto's expression went wide with surprise. Jiraiya allowed him time to absorb the news. For a long time, Naruto gazed around the room, lost in contemplation. What if it's not forced? What do you mean? What if the extraction is not forced? What if I open the seal and let him go? Will that kill me? Even though that had not been the answer he had anticipated, Jiraiya thought about the question. Every time he had a serious conversation with Naruto, that seemed to occur frequently. I don't know. The loss of an entity such as the Kyuubi will deal quite a gigantic jolt. I can't say whether your chakra system will be able to withstand the shock or not. Your chances of survival may be increased, but I don't know to what extent. Frankly, it's even wrong of me to hypothesize like this. Anything is possible. That has never been done before, as far as I know. Hell, I don't think that there has even been a Jinchuriki with an 8 Trigam seal before. You most probably are the first Jinchuriki whose seal was designed around a key. Granted, that means that your seal will weaken with time, but your father wanted to give you an out, I guess. The other villages do not tend to be so forgiving. Naruto asked, his eyes wide. My seal has a key? Yes. Where is it? Your father entrusted it to me before he died. As Naruto gazed at his mentor, silence descended between them. Give it to me, Naruto uttered softly. What? Naruto yelled, I said give it to me, and sprang at him. Jiraiya grabbed his godson and pushed him to the ground, demonstrating a speed that was far greater than Naruto could perceive. Jiraiya pressed his knee against Naruto's back, causing Naruto to grunt in pain. Last warning, boy. If you try a move like that again, you'll be very sorry. You're 1,000 years too early to take me on. You understand me? His godson simply snarled in rage and made an effort to break free. Jiraiya applied more pressure to his knee. Naruto let out another gasp, but his efforts to break free only got more intense. They fought on in silence for some time. Naruto stopped wriggling at last, panting. I'm sorry, he said in a whisper. HMPH, Jiraiya exclaimed, getting to his feet and brushing himself clean. Slowly pushing himself off the ground, Naruto fell into a seated position, panting. He hung his head in despair. The fight was gone. I presume you want that key because of the deal you made with it. No, what? The old man told you. Yes. And that's why he summoned me so much earlier than what he agreed upon, as so. Naruto interrupted, hold on, hold. What do you mean agreed upon? The old man and I agreed that Kakashi would be the first to train you. I was to take over when you reached 15. But why? Why did you agree? Jiraiya scratched his head and said, well, first, because you were my most valued student's son, and secondly, well, how do I put this? Well yeah, 'cause you know I'm your godfather. There was a dead silence and wide eyes in response to his declaration, as he had anticipated. A few seconds later, there was a look of pure rage. Naruto screamed, you bastard, and punched him. Jiraiya did not evade the attack this time. He was aware that he was partially to blame. The force of the blow knocked him back a step as it struck his jaw. Another benefit of taking the punch was that the boy's anger vanished as soon as his fist touched the ground, to be replaced by bewilderment. The boy muttered, why didn't you block that? Because I partially deserved it, Jiraiya admitted in her honest response. More perplexity and a dejected expression greeted his response. Naruto took a slow, silent step back and sat down in the grass. They were in one of Myoboku's numerous grassy knolls that served as training areas. It was private and, in Jiraiya's view, the best setting for a discussion of this magnitude. He took a seat slowly and allowed Naruto to gather his thoughts. As he waited, the boy appeared genuinely desolate. A full minute passed before Naruto gently broke the silence. Why did you leave me? Trust me, I didn't. I reached the village too late to be of any use in the battle. By the time I was there, Minato is gone. Your mother was gone. But you were still alive. I wanted to take you and Eve right away, but the old man refused. Why? He wanted you to have a normal childhood. Wanted you to grow up and go through the academy like any other kid. He said that he didn't want to force you anything. And plus there was the added fact that I'm not really the ideal person to take care of a baby. There was more silence. I thought I had made my peace with my childhood, the boy muttered. I thought I was fine with it. I had the same fight with the Gigi a while back and I thought that I was over it. The boy's cheek rolled with a single tear. But knowing now that this alternate life was possible, I don't know how to feel anymore. The first tear was followed by another. Jiraiya stood up and drew closer to his godson before settling down next to him. He hugged the boy tenderly with one arm. I can't even imagine how tough it must have been for you to grow up in a village which despised you, and I won't insult you by trying to do so. What I do know that is that there is no point grieving over the past. I learned that the hard way myself. For some time, the boy kept shaking slowly. After a long pause, he asked softly, did you know? Know what? Know how the village treated me? Yes. I did. More quiet. Jiraiya questioned, do you hate me for that? Naruto said, tell me why you didn't do anything. Then we'll see, in a stern tone. Jiraiya slowly withdrew his hand and turned his head away. I know you have every right to hate me. I understand that, but my hands were tied. Barring kidnapping you outright, there was nothing I could do. It's easy to say things in hindsight. Back then, I had no idea how you would be treated. And more so, I really had absolutely no idea how to raise a baby. The old man convinced me that the best way to go forward would be to let you grow under his care and then for me to take you under my wing when you were older. Frankly, we both believed that that was the best possible solution. We both underestimated the depth of conviction the village had its decision to mistreat you. Naruto nodded slowly. I see. What about after that? Why did I not ever see you until now? Because I was never in the village. I'm in charge of Konoha's spy networks. I run all our moles and act as a go-between for the village. I think I visited the village exactly 4 times in the past 12 years. Each time, I dropped by and made sure you were okay. I left you a couple of gifts as well. You mean, you were the one who gave me the hat and the wallet? Yes. But why did you never come and meet me? You have no idea how And say what, kid? Jiraiya asked. Hey, I'm Jiraiya, your godfather who hasn't bothered meeting you since you were born. What was I supposed to have done? My mentor, the man I trust most in the world, had insisted that I was unsuitable to raise a child. And I agreed with him. You don't fully know me yet. I don't know the first thing about kids. So, I compromised. I agreed to take you once you were a bit older. Look, I did the best I could given the circumstances. Now, it's up to you to decide whether you want me to train you or not. For the first 4 years of my life, all I ever dreamt about was that I had this rich, powerful relative who would one day come and rescue me. Now I find out that I actually did have a relative like that and he couldn't even be arsed to say hello once in 12 years? That your answer then? No, it's not, Naruto said slowly following the longest pause to date. I forgave the old man. I guess I have to forgive you. Besides, what you said was right. Agonizing about the past is not going to get me anywhere. I need to move forward, like you said. And you did get me a couple of gifts, so you can't be all that bad, can you? For several moments, Jiraiya gazed at his godson in astonishment. Then he leapt to his feet and gave the boy his tightest hug. Thank you, he muttered. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but thank you. You truly are Minato's son. After a brief moment of widening, Naruto gradually calmed down. He slowly put his arms around the Sannin and held on tight, resting his chin on his godfather's shoulder. Jiraiya whispered, I swear that I'll always be there for you from now on. They stayed that way for almost a minute. Jiraiya finally let go of Naruto with a heavy sigh and put his hands on the boy's shoulders. I would like to do this tomorrow, but I really can't delay it any longer. We need to talk about the Kyuubi. Naruto nodded slowly. What do you want to talk about? First of all, I need to inspect your seal. Okay. Yeah. Take off your shirt and perform any jutsu. As instructed, Naruto did. His seal magically appeared on his stomach as he sent chakra through his internal network. Jiraiya knelt before him and started studying his seal. He carefully probed the seal with a finger for approximately 1 minute. It seems okay, he said, leaning back at last. Can I stop channeling now? Yeah, I'm done. Jiraiya got to his feet slowly and walked back to where he had been sitting. He just sat down, sighed deeply, and gazed at his godson. So I'll keep it simple. It all boils down to this. The old man says you trust the Kyuubi. Well, I don't. Naruto simply looked at him without saying anything. Well? Jiraiya inquired. What am I even supposed to say in response to that? I don't know. I suppose you have to convince me somehow? Look, there's no way I can prove to you that Kurama-san is trustworthy. I don't really have any evidence or anything like that. Kurama-san. I see. You do know that this Kurama-san is the reason you don't have any parents. Granted, of course, that in his opinion he was being controlled by someone. Madara. He was being controlled by Uchiha Madara. My point still stands. Yes, I know that he killed my parents, and do you know how I know that? Because he told me himself. Why would he tell me himself if he wanted to gain my trust? Double bluff. Yes, and I've fallen for it, haven't I? He could easily have killed me back then. I was completely within his range, but he didn't. I've given him many chances again since then. I'm still here, aren't I? The boy's words were absorbed by Jiraiya, who processed them gradually. He nodded. Fair enough. After a while, I'll take your word for it, for now. That's it. Yeah, I can see that you truly believe what you say. I'm willing to accept it at face value for now. There's nothing else you want to ask me? Nah. Not even about the part that I'm going to release him when I can. Nah. Really? The GG went ballistic when I told him that. Yeah, I'm not worried. Why? Because I have the key to your seal, and as long as I have, you can't really do much. Damn you, said Naruto, who was smiling. Ha, Jiraiya said. You're cheeky, boy. What I am going to do is help you use that power of yours. It's what saved you from Iwa, and it'll most likely come in handy later as well. You will? Distrustful. I may be, but foolish I am not. Minato wanted you fully harness that power, and I intend to help you. That is why he entrusted me with the key. Slowly, Naruto nodded. Thanks. Don't mention it. I really can't have you dying on me, can I? Your mother would make the afterlife really miserable for me. Would she? Yeah. She was a firecracker if there ever was one, your mother. Can you tell me a bit about her? Sure. But we should be getting back as well. I'll tell you as we walk. As they entered his home, Fukasaku called out, There you are. I was getting a bit worried, Jiraiya. Chan, you have a message from Konoha. I was just going to send someone to find you. The messenger says it's urgent. Fukasaku pointed to a sheaf of sealed papers, which Jiraiya picked up after nodding. He opened it with a chakra flare and started reading. Fuck, he swore, glancing rapidly over the first page. What's wrong? Naruto inquired gravely. Jiraiya sat down and read the message again, impatiently waving the boy away. Slower and more cautious this time, he was not particularly pleased with the news of Muda. One of the pricklier villages, Iwa had a history of jumping to war over the slightest of occurrences. It was certainly not possible to classify an event like the betrayal of one of its junins as a tiny incident. Every day, villages lost shinobi. Some people had had enough of the harsh way of life. Some people no longer wanted to be a part of the village because they disagreed with its policies, and many became missing. Nins, drawn by the wealth found on the underground market. However, very few went to a rival village to defect. There was no doubt that Onoki would not approve of this. Anywhere in that area, he needed to contact all of his spies, to keep their eyes open and to alert them to the danger. Now more than ever, Konoha needed his network to thrive. He went on to read the remaining papers. They included Ibiki's reports on the information he had obtained from the defector and the man he had captured. But the final one was a little note with a piece of paper attached. It read, This is from Iwa's latest bingo book. Show it to him. Should cheer him up. The Hokage's neat print was printed on the note. Jiraiya moaned as she took a quick look at the page that was attached. The child already had a huge ego. He sighed as he silently gave Naruto the page. Naruto quickly snatched the sheet from his godfather's grasp. He read the words printed on it, and his eyes grew wide. It was obviously a page that had been ripped from a book. It included a crude drawing of his face, with special attention to his golden, yellow hair and whiskers. He read the passage beneath the sketch curiously. This is the Jinchuriki of the village of Konoha. It is believed that he is in possession of the Kyubi. His techniques and fighting styles are unknown. Approach with extreme caution. It has been confirmed that he single-handedly eliminated 2 whole squads of Iwa Junin on the outskirts of the Land of Fire. A joyful chuckle slipped from his lips. He had been aiming for precisely this. When he finally looked up and saw the page's title, his joy increased. He had been given the nickname, the Blonde Demon. Naruto chuckled once more. If Iruka-sensei saw this, he would have shit his pants.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.